Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I remember back in the days we used to actually take and write our little passwords and stuff on a sticky note.
Oh, okay.
And then we would set those sticky notes on the back of something, or we would just put it right by the computer. So times have really changed, and technology has really changed. And as we heard from Mike earlier, the criminals out there are getting smarter and smarter, and they're really preying on all of our families out there. No one actually is exempt or from being a victim of a fraud or a scam. But one of the things we see here in Queen Anne's County is that our senior population, and I hate to use the word elderly because I'm close to being a senior as well, and I see people my age and also people that are even younger than me being victims of scams that are out there. But the community does, the criminal community does prey a lot on our elderly population and our seniors that are out there. And they do this because they are more vulnerable, and we'll talk about some ways that they are. But my plea out there today is really to talk to the families and friends out there to educate our parents that are out there and educate our grandparents that are out there and encourage others to help them with the technology challenges that we see, and to be able to recognize the warning signs that are out there. And a lot of preventative steps can be done. You heard a lot of great things earlier from the IT side, so I'll kind of skip those. But seniors are targeted a lot of times, my age and above, because they're isolated. A lot of times where people are home, they don't have somebody to talk to, the phone rings, and it's some real nice person on the other end that starts to get that level of trust up and starts to befriend them, and then after several phone calls, they're able to gather a lot of information about that person. A lot of times people are less tech savvy, so we rely on that information from family and friends to help us out with that. And Queen Anne's County is a very trusting place. We trust in others, and when somebody makes that phone call and they seem really nice on the other end of the phone, we tend to talk a little bit too much. But we're going to talk about the role of caregivers in this as well. Some of the factors we talked about are the cognitive decline of some of our older population, loneliness or isolation, lack of can't say that word this morning, lack of digital literacy, financial security or savings are some of the things that these people prey on. Common scams that we see here, which was talked about earlier, are tech support scams, but we do see a lot of health and prescription frauds as well. We see people calling up saying that they're from Medicare, they've got information about the person, which is very easy for people to find out about you on the internet just by looking at one of your relatives' Facebook profiles, Instagram accounts or something. A lot of information can be obtained on that, so they'll be able to call you and get information on additional information from them, and then talk to you about your Medicare programs and things like that. Fake insurance and prescriptions are out there as well. And we all have heard about the grandparent scheme, which is where somebody calls up impersonating a family member. And now with AI and things like that, I would assume it would be a lot easier for someone to do. This is where they call you up and they say that a family member has been hurt in an accident, or a family member has been kidnapped in another country or something like that. These calls are generally when you're not really awake at 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. And this person on the other end of the phone line, on a very bad connection a lot of times, will actually say that they're hurt, they need medical treatment or whatever, and they want you to send or wire money. Bitcoin seems to be a common way for them to do it. Or if anybody asks for payment, and we'll say this many times throughout the presentation, but if anyone asks for payment by gift card, it is absolutely a scam. Nobody, not law enforcement, FBI, anybody accepts gift cards for payment. So a lot of times these grandparent scams, they'll have you go out, or any of these scams will have you go out to Food Lion or one of the other stores out there, Acme or Dollar General or whatever, and buy Samsung prepaid gift cards, Apple gift cards, cash cards, whatever they can get you to. They want you to scratch off the number on the back in good faith. They want you to give them the card number, then give them that little PIN number. By the time you report it to local law enforcement, that money is completely gone and out there in another country somewhere. Some of the common scams that we see here in Queen Anne's County to talk about are, we get that call from the IRS or the call from somebody saying they're from the sheriff's office. A A lot of times they're able to spoof our number, so on your caller IDs on your phone, it'll say Queen Anne's County Office of the Sheriff, it'll say something like that, or it'll say IRS. They spoof the number so it looks like it comes from us. If you hang up on them and you call that number back, it really does come back to us. They're able to use that caller ID feature to do that. A lot of times we're seeing this now with the Delmarva Power Company and other power companies in the area. They'll call and say that your power payment was never received. They need an immediate payment of X number of dollars to avoid turning your service off. They say they've got a service tech in the area that'll be coming by in the next hour or so. So there's that sense of urgency that was talked about earlier. And the only way to resolve this is for you to go out to the store and purchase $400 or $500 worth of prepaid gift cards. A complete scam. Every single time. People will call us and say, I went out to the store, I sent $600 worth of gift cards in, and then I called Delmarva Power to make sure that my power was okay, and they said, they never called me, they've received my payment before, and I was scammed by this. By the time we go to trace those gift cards down, they are completely gone. We're not able to get them. So a lot of times you'll see that scam. We're seeing fake checks for overpayment. Someone's selling something online. Somebody's selling something for $500. The person calls you and says, I made a mistake. I sent you a $900 check by accident, but I know you're a good person. So go ahead and deposit the check. This normally occurs, by the way, on a Friday. Go ahead and deposit the check in your bank account. And because I've inconvenienced you, I want you to go ahead and keep 100 of it. So you're going to get $600 for what I'm buying from you, but I want you in good faith to send me back $300 today. So you send them back $300, the bank notifies you Monday or Tuesday that the check is completely fraudulent, and you are out that money. So be very wary of people overpaying with any type of a check. And normally it's always done by mail. Very little correspondence is done by voice. They normally do it by text message or email or chat with this, and then you'll see those scams. We're seeing a lot of those in our area. We get a lot of those ones where people have called our older population and they say, hey, we've hacked into your computer. They send you an email or a text. We've hacked into your computer and we see what sites that you've been visiting. And if they get somebody on there that's vulnerable, the person may not want someone else to know whether they're on a dating site or whether they're on some other type of site, and they say, hey, we've got your email address, and if you don't send us $200 or $300 or whatever the amount would be, we're going to release all this personal information out there, but we're going to email all your friends, and you're going to be really embarrassed about this. So this person then says, in order for us not to avoid it, we want you to go to the store and get $200, $300, $400, $500 worth of gift cards and send them to us. Again, reminder, if it's in a gift card payment, it is a scam. A lot of times these people do that. Romance scams, we've seen a few of those in our community where we're lonely, we're isolated, we meet somebody online through a dating site or just through maybe even a text message. And this person befriends them, builds their trust up, says they want to see them, but they've had a death in the family or something tragic's happened. I can't get to see you, but if you'll help me out right now, I'll pay you back and send you the $200 or $300 back that you're going to loan me. And then the person completely ghosts them. A lot of times these numbers are a lot higher financially, but they're very underreported within our community. As talked about earlier, current text message scams, these are off my phone. I get them too. I owe the Easy Pass a lot of money, according to these texters that are out there. They have threatened to, which is kind of funny here, if you read the way they write, and it was talked earlier, please pay immediately before enforcement, okay? They also talked about end further legal disputes. So I don't know what those might be. They're going to transfer it to a toll booth. I have no idea how a toll booth is going to collect my money that I owe them. And my credit score will be affected by me not paying them. So they do create this sense of urgency to pay this. They do have links that they want you to click on these. If you get these text messages, delete them. Do not click on any links in the text messages. You can log on to your Easy Pass account or your account that's out there, and you can see if you owe them money. Most likely you do not. The other scam that we're seeing are these real nice text messages you get, which is on my phone from last week. Hello, I said, what's up? It's Shannon, and she's calling me from K4 Staffing, and she wants to know if I'm still looking for a job. Well, hopefully I'm not still looking for a job. But if I was, it's enticing for me to respond back to her. I said, nope, but thank you. And she said, oh, don't be too quick to turn down this offer. It's a freelance work. There's no set time location for me to work at. I currently have flexible remote hours, and it won't affect my other job. But she wants to send me full details for review. So if I would have continued with this, she would have sent me something. She sends me a link. Who knows what that link contains and what I'm either giving her or what she's taking from me. A lot of times you'll just get a random hello. And you'll respond back, hello, and they'll say, hi, this is Janice, or this is John. Do you remember who I am? No, I don't. We met the other night, whatever the case is. I mean, they'll start these dialogues with you over text message. If you get those and you don't know who they're from, delete those, because you don't want to get that one link and click on that and give them information. The other thing that we're seeing in Queen Anne's County, doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it's extremely traumatic, is theft from caregivers. So it's extremely important when you're out there. I mean, and you talk about theft from caregivers. Most caregivers are awesome people. I've had to use them recently for a relative situation. They are awesome people. They dedicate their lives to helping out our community, but there are a few bad caregivers. So use a reputable company, use somebody out there that you can trust. Do not, in my opinion, select a caregiver off of a Facebook ad. Vet somebody before they come into your home. Make sure they're licensed, insured, or bonded, or they're a close member of your family, which you can still be vulnerable with that. Make sure you vet these people into your home. There's so much information in your home. There's checkbooks laying around. There's bills laying around. Access was talked about earlier to your computer. Someone can sit by your bedside for a long period of time and gain a lot of trust, gain a lot of knowledge, gain a lot of information, and then at some point in time present you with documents to sign, and that person could literally steal a lot of assets from you and your family. It's very important that when selecting a caregiver from the law enforcement perspective, that it's done by a family and not just one person. Multiple people are involved in that. Multiple people are involved in the process of vetting that caregiver. And I would always recommend removing everything out of the home that can give information about you, having it stored somewhere else while a caregiver or company is in your home. Again, like I said, there's a lot of great companies out there. There's a lot of great people out there that do awesome care in our community, but it just takes one or two bad ones to do that. We saw that here, and there was a video here, a recent case that we had here in Queen Anne's County where the son kept going to the home, giving his mom money, and every week he would give mom money. Mom would like to order out. Mom would like to go to the grocery store and do things. Mom had a little bit of dementia setting in. The son would go back every couple of days and be like, Mom, where's the pizza? Where's the money? What'd you do with it? And she's like, oh, I don't remember. I spent it. We actually were able to set up a hidden camera and catch the caregiver. As soon as the son came in, as soon as the son gave Mom the money, the caregiver would take the money exactly afterwards, put it in her boot, put it in her shirt, and blame the mom for losing the money. So it's one of those things where just be cognizant of those things and make sure that you're aware of that. Keep track of mom or dad. Red flags and warning signs, unsolicited calls, texts, or emails, as talked about earlier. If the IRS calls you, the FBI calls you, the sheriff's office calls you, don't take the number for granted that's on the caller ID. Make sure you do a little bit of work on that. Talk to a family member. Call back our office. I can assure you that we are not going to call you before we come lock you up. We are going to come knock on your door, and we're going to be there. We're not going to give you a warning that we're coming. So those are scams. If we call you and tell you you have a warrant and you can get out of it for $600 in gift cards, it is a scam. We're not going to do that. We're going to make you come to the office and go see a court commissioner. We do not accept gift cards, visas, or cash. Urgent requests for money, like you got to do this right now. This is so important. If you don't do it today, your tags are going to be flagged, or you're going to have a warrant for you, or this, that, and the other. If it's an urgent request for money, it is a scam. Again, do your research on those. Look at the messages. A lot of times we read this message and it sounds really urgent or really important, but when we start to look at the grammar, as I indicated earlier, or the way it's written, it is written very poorly. Now remember, the criminals are out there are using AI now, so they're getting better at what we're doing. They're getting better at it, and they're going to get better. So it's important that we stay on top of that. Too good to be true promises. it always gets me. Somebody wins the lottery. The person calls them to say they won the lottery. But you've got to go ahead and pay the taxes in advance. So all my years in dealing with the IRS, they have always sent me a paper bill at the end of the year. And they always want their money by paper. They've never called me to say, hey, you owe taxes, this, that, and the other. They always send you a nice paper thing that says IRS on it and all that. So they're never going to ask for your taxes in advance. If that happens and they want gift cards, it's a scam. Caller demand secrecy or urgency, it's a scam. I mean, there's nothing that a caller is going to call you out. They want you either to talk to you should consult with an attorney for some things. You should consult with family for some things. If someone says it's urgent, it's most likely a scam out there. Large amount of mail soliciting donations. We've been to homes in the county where some of our older adults have talked to people on the phone. They've given $25 to an organization, and then all of a sudden, once they do that, their name is then sold to hundreds and hundreds of people out there saying that you give money. And if you give to one, all of a sudden you're now getting these packets of Christmas cards, you're getting free pots, free pans, free scrubbers, free pot holders. You're getting all these really cool things that are coming in the mail all the time because you gave to one person. But each one of those companies is asking you for a donation. So it's important when you're out there to our families, if you notice that your relatives are starting to get a lot of junk mail asking for donations, be aware they've probably given to someone in the past and probably need to start monitoring that. I've seen homes where literally the kitchen table is completely filled up with either boxes of things that they thought were free. Remember, you got to spend $10 to get a free pot or $10 to get a free pot holder. So those are scams, they're money-making things out there. There's always that claim of winning that next prize. Congratulations, you're now Tier 2, but in order to get to Tier 1, you've got to spend $9.99 at this clearinghouse or whatever it may be, and it's just a racket and a scam. Consequences, financial loss, savings, retirement funds. We've seen people have $150,000 in the bank and after a few years have almost zero in the bank, can barely pay their electric bill because these people are soliciting donations all the time, or they befriended them and taken a lot of their money. So it's always good. And you know, one of the things out there to our seniors is don't be afraid to talk to your family members about these things. You know, and other family members that are younger, don't be afraid to talk to our seniors about these things. It's important to have this dialogue back and forth. I've seen retirement funds depleted to almost nothing because of this as well. You know, we depend on that. We're living longer, we're living happier, we're living healthier. We've got to plan on a longer retirement. We certainly don't want to be giving them to different organizations. I always get this question, well, I want to donate to the police. And the Police Protective Fund is calling, and the National Sheriff's Vest Fund is calling, and the Canine Fund is calling. If you want to give to your local police or your local fire company or the charity of your choice, write them a check directly and mail it directly to their headquarters or their office. That's what I'd recommend you do. If you go through these clearinghouses out there, these people that are soliciting donations, they're taking a large chunk of that money to pay for the costs to market this and to also pay the telemarketers on the other end. So if you want to write a check to the fire company or law enforcement, send it directly to the fire company here in this county or the law enforcement agency in this county or whatever charity you want to do in this county. But don't go through these telemarketing companies because they're going to take a lot of your hard-earned money. You know, with this, emotional trauma happens, embarrassment or fear. A lot of times these people have taken everything that a senior has, and then the senior's embarrassed and doesn't want to tell their family members about this. Strain on family relationships. I've seen husbands spend almost all of their money, or wives spend all of their money. And then they've got to talk to their partner about this when there's no money left to pay the electric bill or the college fund or the present for their grandchild they were going to do. So it creates a lot of strain on a family relationship and trust. A lot of times the personal denial is happening, or the family has little interaction. Some of the homes that I've been into and seen where these scams have occurred, the family hasn't come to visit in a year. You know, the person's lonely, they haven't talked to them, the person's isolated, all the kids live outside of the area. So make sure it's important to establish that rapport with family members out there. Caregivers, we talk about that. You know, good caregiving companies out there will educate our seniors about scams that are going on. They'll monitor the phone and online activities as much as possible. They may ask questions about, who you're talking to, in a nice way. Maybe that's a scam. Maybe you should hang up from them, things like that. I would have family and friends set up, family and friends that can be trusted, or those that are helping out with the care, set up fraud alerts on bank accounts so at least they can monitor when large debits happen or large charges. Speak to financial institutions. A lot of our local banks are really good. We get calls every once in a while from our local banks saying, hey, this person who Miss Betty never knew is now hanging out with Miss Betty. And Miss Betty this morning brought him in to have him added to her bank accounts. And that just happened like a week and a half ago down on Ken Island. And I thank the bank for calling us and setting us in the alert mode for this. We were able to reach out to family. And Miss Betty did become friends with somebody. And Miss Betty did take this person to the bank because he was a trusted friend who's about 50 years younger, to have him added to her bank account. So this was taken care of. Checking credit reports, having credit reports, monitoring them, having a baseline of, when you start to, throughout the process of someone's caregiving, make sure you don't have unauthorized or unopened accounts on there. Use call blocking services for unknown numbers. Encourage transparency and communication within the family. Immediate steps, report these to the authorities if they happen. Contact the bank to freeze any accounts. Somebody's going to have to be on that to help do that. Document all interactions and related to the scam. I'd keep a journal or a notebook, write those things down. I would not recommend doing them on the computer because if something happens and you lose the computer, the program, or you get locked out of that, you won't have those notes. Seek support for the senior if they become emotionally distressed. There's a lot of great resources in this county for that, for our seniors. The next slide is going to have some different contact information on who to report things to. Our state attorney's office, the FTC, the Queen Anne's County Office of the Sheriff, different things like that. We'd rather have you call us and report it than we would have you have not called us and reported it. We'd rather know about it before so we can be ahead of this and help work with our seniors, even our younger people in our community, than we would have you call us when we have a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 scam that's already occurred. What can family do? We ask families to stay vigilant, especially in unexpected communications. Educate seniors and stay updated on new scam trends. I think that would be impossible, to be honest with you. There's like a new scam every day that comes out. And that's why we need to be alert to these things and have communication. Act quickly if fraud is suspected to minimize any damage out there. And talk and share information. Don't be embarrassed about a scam that happens to somebody. I can tell you our kids are victims of scams too. Our kids are getting text messages saying, hey, if you don't pay me $100, I'm going to share those pictures that you sent your boyfriend or your girlfriend. And we have a lot of young people out there becoming victims of scams now too. So those scammers are good, but we're better than that. We just need to make sure we stay on top of it. Any questions, clarifications, or experiences anybody wants to share?
I have a question.
Thank you.
How successful are you in getting scammers?
So we've caught a few, but we're not as successful as we'd like to be. A lot of these scams are occurring overseas, and by the time that you scratch that PIN number off the back of that gift card, that money is out of that account. The minute you submit it, it's gone. So we're not having a lot of luck with that. We are working with the FBI and stuff on some local scams right now that are going on, but we're not very successful at all, which makes it even more heartbreaking for families. And they look at it, I've seen some of the scammers talk, they don't have a relationship with the person they're scamming, so they look at this as a victimless crime. They don't have any emotional ties to the person. I mean, if you were to come up to somebody and do something to them, I might look at your emotions, your expressions. I might realize that you're an awesome person, I don't want to do this to you. They do it over text, over email, sometimes voice, but not often. A lot of the romance scams are done by voice. But a lot of times it's just text messages or communication, sending pictures back and forth, things like that. They build this trust up. But on the other side, you might think you're talking to, you might think you're talking to some guy or young lady and be talking to some completely different person. It's not them. So, very little luck on getting stuff back. Yes, ma'am.
I know in previous presentations, you've made comments like, don't say, if they say, is this Betty? Say, yes, it is. Just say, who's this, or something off the wall. Is
Yeah, a
that
lot of times
still
we can,
good?
they want to validate. There's a lot of resources out there to find out who you are. So like there's Spokio, there's Google searches. Just Google search your name and it's going to come up, and then there's going to be a link to where you can find possible addresses for this and all that. So once they get a little bit of information, like you said, if they're calling you, they are supposed to know who they're calling. So, I mean, a lot of times they'll be like, hi, is this Bob? Who are you calling for? If you think this is Bob, then this is Bob. So you tell me what you want. What's your business calling my phone? Or something like that. A lot of times we end up talking too much, giving them too much information. They'll call and say, are you still at 123 Main Street? We're helping them build this profile of us with information they may already have. One of the things, we're kind of our worst own enemies in closing with this, because we always want to win something free. And everywhere you go, or everything you do on the internet says, hey, fill out this form. Fill out this form. It started back in the days with glamour shots and win a log cabin vacation out there. We probably all did this. You go in the mall and it's that little clear box and you tear off the thing and you win down. Everybody wanted to win the log cabin vacation or the glamour shots. We started giving a lot of information about ourselves. Well, we still do that today online. We fill out this form or enter this contest to win a free $10 Subway gift card or whatever the case may be, or win an iPad or a laptop. We start giving them our name, our address, we give them our demographics, we give them our income. We start to give a lot of this information, and that information is sold or stolen to so many different people out there. So we need to start kind of limiting the information we give out there. So, but I don't know anybody ever won a glamour shots, free glamour shots photo. I didn't even win the log cabin vacation. I tried to win like 6 times, but so just want to thank everybody for coming, and I appreciate it, and keep our seniors safe, and great panel up here, and great IT.